So, I'm an expert on that. But my pet shop experience has given the kids, our kids, an unfortunate out when it comes to pet care. They long ago discovered that no matter how much they insist they'll take care of the critter, whether lying like a log or seething with sincerity, I'll do it in the end. Because I can't stand seeing a guinea pig wallow in its own waste and can do the job 10 times better than they can in half the time. As for picking up dog poo, we can't even pay the kids to do it. And why would they? They know it's me who cares most about dog debris getting tracked in on those wood floors. If the dogs step in their own spore, they're kids and couldn't care less. And frankly, I'm an expert on this. How to pick up dog poop. This is serious. I got paid for this. Section 1, picking up poop with a scooper. Step 1, approach the poop from upwind. Step 2, using one hand to hold your dog's leash. Use the other to scoop the poop using a trowel, rake, scooper, or claw-like metal instrument designed for the purpose. Step 3, quickly dash to the nearest trash can without a homeowner watching and dump the contents of your trowel, rake, or claw-like metal instrument into the receptacle, hoping you meet no one during your mad dash. Step 4, repeat as necessary. Section 2, picking up poop with a plastic bag around your hand. Step 1, approach the poop from upwind. Step 2, slip an appropriately sized plastic bag over your dominant hand, leaving the other hand to hold your leash or your nose. Tip, plastic newspaper bags, grocery bags, and produce bags all make good poop bags and can be saved for this purpose, recycling. Though the sight of smooshed dog poop through clear plastic is not for the faint of heart. Okay, step 3. Place your hand over the poop and pick it up gently as if handling baby chicks in order to keep the dog poop in a solid state. Tip, for multiple poops, 2 hands may be necessary to gather the entire flock of feces. Stand on your dog. Thank you. Stand on your dog's leash to keep him from exploring freely or rolling in his own dung. Step 4, pick up the poop in its entirety with the other hand. Slip the baggie off the dominant hand and closing the poop within. Step 5, tie off the bag to prevent poop and odors from escaping. And don't make the mistake of having the bag in your pocket when you stop to chat with another mom because it still smells. I found that out later. Step 6, because I'm cold. Dash to the nearest trash can and drop in the bag surreptitiously in case you're being watched. Step 7, repeat as necessary. Warning. Okay, someone's going on. Don't explode. Warning, don't grab poop fresh out of the dog. Allow the poop to drop to the ground before collecting. Even dogs can have shy bowels, and a constipated dog is not a pretty thing. Never use your scooper to flip the poop into a hedge, ivy bed, or bush. While it may seem a speedy solution, a potential confrontation with an angry mother standing behind the bush or an irate gardener who had spent the entire day pruning the ivy to ship shape is not worth this scooping shortcut. So you see, I'm an expert on this. Okay. So over the 17 years, my last 17 years on the mommy track, I've learned some things about pet care, mostly by error, much of it a trial. Because during that time, we've had 4 Siamese fighting fish, 3 mice, 1 who died of cancer, and 2 who injured each other mortally in a mixed martial arts free-for-all, leading to euthanasia for 2 in a shared coffin made from a plastic takeout container with a bow on top. 1 cockatiel named Doris, 1 parakeet captured in a public park we named Boris, who lived with Doris, 5 goldfish. One of my first how-tos was how to name a goldfish. Yes, believe it or not. Step 1, observe the goldfish you have chosen. Does a name scream out to you? Does your fish have obvious traits? A growth on his forehead, a third eye, a spot on his tail that looks just like the one on your mother-in-law's chin? Step 2, what do you want your fish's name to say about you? When a friend asks, do you want the name to indicate your humor, vocabulary, cold-heartedness, like sushi, knowledge of Eastern religions, or taste for shocking slang? Step 3, ask yourself, will I be comfortable saying this name in 10 years if the goldfish defies the odds and survives over a decade? Even if you'd like to change your goldfish's name, your kids, relatives, and friends will never let you forget his original appellation. Step 4, try names on your tongue. Does Aloysius sound satisfying? Does Carpo feel right? Step 5, consider your household. If you have children, they will want to name the fish. Make suggestions to vary the possibilities, or you may be feeding Goldie, Fishy, or Swimmy for the next few years. Step 6, if no perfect name emerges from your musings, let your fish remain nameless until inspiration strikes. Your fish will swim on in blissful ignorance of his unbaptized state, and you can hold out for the name of your dreams. Now here's some warnings about this. You'd think it was an innocent thing. Warning, naming a fish after a beloved friend or relative still living is an invitation to cosmic disaster. Bad karma will ensue if your fish meets a swift end, and disposal will be complicated by your attachment to the beloved friend or relative, resulting in a fish funeral rather than a quick flush. And another warning, naming a fish as retribution for the emotional crimes of your enemy, ex-boyfriend, or in-laws is tempting because you've got the power, but inadvisable. Keeping the fire burning in an antagonistic relationship by naming your goldfish after your worst enemy will distance you from what should be a beloved pet. Rise above it. Okay, but wait, the list of pets goes on. 2 finches. One long-lived leopard gecko named Sweetie, who jumped into my older son's shirt at Petco, stealing his heart forever, and lies interred in our freezer, awaiting a final resting place. Okay. Now, though this might seem strange to some people, I'd like to point out that when I was 17 and working in the pet store, there was a dead tortoise named Turbo in our freezer, and no one thought anything about it. I mean, until my mother's boyfriend took it out thinking it was a turkey on Thanksgiving. Okay, the list goes on. 3 rabbits. Now, I'd like to make a note here. Never say yes when your son calls you from class saying, Susie brought in her baby bunnies and they're so cute, just because you're guilty about the new baby and all the attention he's getting. I should know. Okay, so if you do fall for this routine, here's how to live with a house rabbit. Am I running too long, Jake? Yeah. Wait a minute, you know what? There's a better one. See, I never knew how long this would be. Okay, so do we want the house rabbit for basically, beware, they can scratch, they can bite, and they can turn into the attack rabbit from Monty Python. And would we like to hear, do we have time for either the interring a toad or how to adopt the wrong pet?
Do it.
Okay, which one? Or do we want, we have Labradors here.
Wrong pet.
Wrong pet, okay, because I have so much information here. And I know a lot about this. Okay, so naturally, all this experience made me the perfect person to write how to pick the wrong pet. Step 1, be impetuous. As soon as the idea strikes you, go out in search of the animal of your whim. Step 2, do no research. Picking a pet is about falling in love, not logical analysis of existing data. Step 3, look for your pet at the nearest outlet, regardless of reputation. Step 4, when you've found a pet source, don't be afraid to compromise, change your mind, or decide on another species once you get there based on availability. Step 5, ignore practical considerations offered by store employees or bystanders who mutter, "Are you sure you want to do that?" when you appear to be buying an opposite-sex pair of a speed breeding species. Step 6, get the cheapest accommodations money can buy for your new pet, or figure you have something at home that could probably work. Step 7, leave with your new pet and a sneaking suspicion you may have just made a big mistake in a matter of minutes. Should be matter. Look for the pet that needs your loving care, the one in the corner cowering, the lame one limping along at the back of the kennel. And when in doubt, get 2. If there are dueling desires of the family, why not please both by buying 2 pets? And think of the pet you want now, not the pet it will be in 10 years when you go off to college. Warning, never stop to consider if you want to pick the wrong pet. Rational thought and logical consequences might intrude. Overall tip, even with the most impetuous purchase, you may get lucky. If you miraculously pick the right pet, don't be afraid to try again with another species. Thank you.